Good afternoon, everyone, to the land of Zoom, and welcome to the Board of Health virtual meeting on Tuesday, October 29th, scheduled for 3:30. My name is Thomas Corey. Present with me via Zoom is Michael Coughlin, Dr. Stephen Gagliotti, and Tess Curran, our agent of the board, various guests and participants in today's meeting. Tess, will you please call the roll?
Thomas Corey,
Yes?
Michael Coughlin, Stephen Gagliardi.
Yes.
The first item of business is the approval. Where's my? I don't have my open meeting law advisory. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a recording being made of this meeting, whether perceived or unperceived, by those present, and you're all going to be recorded either way. Sorry, I don't have the proper wording today. I'm in a different office. Next item, the approval of the minutes of the meeting from Wednesday, October 2nd. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to be made to the minutes of the meeting as printed?
No. Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a roll call.
Thomas Corey,
Yes?
Michael Coughlin,
Yes.
Stephen Gagliardi.
Yes.
Next, we have the request for approval of a tattooing establishment for Kenneth Stady at Painted Savage Tattoo, 974 North Main Street, Fall River.
Yep.
I see Kenneth is here. Who is presenting?
Yeah,
I am here.
I'll be presenting the case here. I did the inspection on October 25th. He's got all the proper equipment, the requirements, all the proper notices. He's pretty much ready to roll. I mean, he's got everything he needs. He's been waiting patiently, pretty much, for the approval.
Okay. Mr. Stade, do you have anything to say? First, can you state your name and address for the record?
Yes, my name is Kenneth Standy. I live at 15 Duke Ballum Road, Harwich, Massachusetts, 02645.
Where is Harwich?
Cape Cod.
And you're going to come all the way every day.
Absolutely.
Wow, that's devotion. Gentlemen, do we have any questions?
No.
Questions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Can we have a roll call?
Thomas Corey,
Yes?
Michael Coughlin,
Yes.
Stephen Gagliardi.
Yes.
Okay. Next, we have the request for approval of a tattoo practitioner license for Kenneth to work at Painted Savage Tattoo.
Yep. He's got all the requirements that he needs to perform tattooing at the shop. So
I
he's
went to the
good to go.
paperwork. He's got everything. Yes, he does.
He's good to go.
Gentlemen, any questions?
Move to approve.
Second.
Yes, can we have a roll call?
Thomas Corey,
Yes?
Michael Gagliardi, Michael Coughlin,
Yes.
Stephen Gagliardi.
Yes.
Kenneth, good luck.
Good
Thank
luck.
you very much.
Thank you.
I hope you don't get caught in traffic coming over the bridge.
Me too. You guys have a great day.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Thank you. Bye.
Next, we have the request for a variance for the keeping of chickens for Stephanie Alexander, 81 Barrett Street, Fall River, Mass. Who's presenting?
And Stephanie is here with us.
Okay, very good.
All right, and I'll present. So, a few minutes ago, I received the last piece of paper that is required, and that is the exterminator's contract.
Okay.
So I didn't have time to get it to the board. This, like many of these cases, started with a complaint from a neighbor. So Ms. Alexander didn't know, like many don't, that a permit is required. And so I've been ushering her through the application process. This was the last piece. It was promised. We would prefer to come a few days ago, so you'd have it. The contract does not state that it's annual, but the fee, there's an initial fee and a monthly fee, and that's indicative of contracts I've seen that it is annual fee. an annual contract because you have that base amount that you pay and then a monthly fee. I've had a contract just like that myself, so it seems to be in order. Right now, you may see if you're looking at the application, the number of animals has changed, that some things have been in flux, new arrivals and some sad departures. But right now, the number stands at 16?
14.
14,
Sorry,
okay.
I
at 14.
apologize, 16, you are correct.
16, all right. They want to keep changing it. On paper, they're asking for 17, but we've had a couple of, as I say, sad departures. It's a brand new coop. It's a large yard. They got some additional chickens sort of in the process here, and that's why they constructed a new, larger coop. They had to do some tidying up in the yard, and they've done so. I was last there a couple of weeks ago, and that's pretty much it. I've seen their facilities. They say they have the rat-proof food containers. They do. So you'll see on the document that the management plan, it just says traps. Well, that's what they first responded with. The actual requirement is not in the regulation. And so what happens a lot is that despite the fact that we verbally tell them what they need, many applicants don't come up with the actual contract right away because they refer back to the regulation. And that's what's one of the reasons for the delay in the actual contract. So we've had some communications back and forth about that. The disposal of deceased animals is pretty standard, buried at least 2 feet deep. So everything appears to be in order, and they have a pretty nice setup, and I recommend that the variance be granted.
Was there any
No,
communication from neighbors, abutters, or anything?
no, there was one telephone call, and I asked them to put that in writing. But I think the problem was the person didn't want to identify themselves, so I never got that.
Okay.
But other than that, no, nothing at all.
Okay, so Stephanie, the application is for 17. That means you can have 17 and under, but never 18, 19, or 20, right?
No, I will not, sir.
You have the rodent contract in place. You'll get additional inspections during the course of the year. And no roosters.
No, my goodness, no.
Well,
Okay,
that's one of the reasons that the number's gone down. A
We
couple
know.
of chicks turned out to be boys, so.
I had to get rid of it.
aha. Okay, gentlemen, do we have any questions?
No.
Questions? Move to approve.
Second.
Yes?
Thomas Corey,
Yes?
Michael Coughlin,
Yes.
Stephen Gagliardi.
Yes.
All right, Stephanie, good luck.
Good
Thank
luck.
you so much, everyone. Thank you.
Next, item number 8, the keeping of animals, a cease and desist order was issued for a first offense of the Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 111, Section 31, Antonio Souza, 988 Stafford Road, Fall River. Is there anyone here to represent Mr. Souza?
Mr. Souza called and said he was in the waiting room. The Zoom waiting room.
Okay,
No?
we have a wait. Everyone just,
Yeah, I don't know when he exactly logged on. He did call me after 3:30. He called me here. Feel like I could give him a call and I double checked with him today. I sent him the login credentials again. That all happened this afternoon. See,
Well, I guess we table it, huh? He's not here.
Mr. Souza. Yeah. You're in the Zoom waiting room? Okay, I'm in the middle of the meeting. I just wanted to check on that. We don't seem to know that you're there. But I'll call you back. I don't know. He says he's there on a telephone.
who's the person on the iPad?
I don't know, he said it was.
Oh,
his turn.
that's me, Jennifer, for
Okay.
tobacco.
Usually we would table an application. I don't know if we can table a cease and desist. What was the reason for the cease and desist to be issued?
Well, very briefly, this process started in February. It was a complaint from a neighbor. We sent a letter saying you have 30 days to apply. That sounds like a long time, but it doesn't seem to be. I got a response, so I sent a ticket, then I got a response, and the application was made in April 24th. Once again, the exterminator report wasn't the way it was supposed to be. He sent several versions, so by May 20th, I got that, and then tried to get him on the June meeting, but, you know, Tom, you and I had to talk about his yard.
Mm-hmm.
All that said, what's happening is twofold. One is that I can't get into the yard, keeps his yard locked. I've asked many times about this and not been granted access. I see things that I can't really identify. It looks like the original coop was augmented. He adopted some additional birds. I can't really examine the coop, if it's sound. The issues that we discussed, there's a pile of shingles now, shutters in the trash area. There's always a pile of something. It's whack-a-mole. This part of the yard is unkempt, that part of the yard is then unkempt. And this has been a pattern of this. And right now, I guess really is that because it's gone on so long and I can't gain access. He keeps his yard locked and it's surrounded by arborvitae to do a thorough inspection. So, you know, we're getting on to, what is it, 9 months? It's like 8 months. I wasn't able to bring this application forward because I did not have his cooperation. So I issued the cease and desist. I didn't know what else I could do.
Well, we don't need to take a vote on the cease and desist, right? Faust has the authority to just do that on his own.
Yes.
And I saw a letter from a lawyer where Mr. Souza wanted to appeal the cease and desist. And so I thought that's what we were going to act on.
That would be if Mr. Souza was able to join the meeting, as I
Right,
say.
Right.
he's
So
invited.
that's why I suggested we table it because the cease and desist is in effect. Is it not? Am I wrong about that?
It is in effect, except that there's an appeal.
Enforced.
Hasn't been enforced yet, no. Well, you know, I believe we have to give him the opportunity to appeal it before we.
Zoom user just showed up. Maybe this is him.
Mr. Souza, is that you listed as Zoom user?
Hello?
Hello?
Yes, can I talk?
If you identify yourself, name and address.
Antonio Souza,
Okay.
988 Stafford Road, Fall River, Mass.
Okay. So, tell us your side.
Okay. My side is the reason I have the gates all locked up. Number one, we've been robbed in the past this year. It was been a complaint to the cops. People like homeless people came in. Somebody stole my lawn machine. Somebody already started sleeping on my porch in the middle of the night. Some neighbors come leaving nasty notes on my door, and we can go so far, only so far. This is the number one. Number two, I tried to contact Miss Faust, saying I'm available for him. I know he had a lot of things to do. I'm not the only one in the city, so I never have a response from him back. A couple weeks ago, Mr. Fausto just came. He called me in the morning. Tony, I just saw you outside, but I didn't see him. Maybe because I was in a rush because I have health issues and I have to go to heating air like New Bedford, this and that for doing tests. I'm not want him to think I am ignoring him. I don't do that, Mr. Fausto.
Can I respond to that, sir?
Yeah.
To the board, can I respond to that?
And I'm not done yet, my friend. And the
Oh,
thing is, the
Souza,
shot the shots you seen outside my house, it
Mr.
was,
Souza,
Hmm?
quiet for a minute. Mr. Fiore.
Okay.
All right, so as you know, Mr. Souza came in with his request for appeal in person. And so, and I spoke to him about this.
Mhm.
So the next morning, I believe it was, I went to his property. I did see him in his yard. I called out to him. He didn't hear me. I went to the house. I called him from the sidewalk with my cell phone, and asked him if he could come out and let me in. And he said he had company. Could I call him in half an hour? I said, okay. And I did call him in half an hour. He didn't answer the phone. I left a message for him. He did not return that call. Now, there's been a lot of my trying to contact him, and I'm not trying to indict him in any way about the communication. Sometimes you play phone tag, but at that point, Mr. Souza surely knew that this was important, and I just didn't feel that I should be calling him every day after that. It was incumbent upon him to just call me back. To once again, there was many other requests, several other requests, to at some point in time when he could let me in. I thought that was a good opportunity because he was home. I didn't know that till I went there, but that was the last communication I had with him. He's had several opportunities to let me into the property. We have discussed it. We have discussed the area, and I'm talking about that's always has some new or different trash on it. Despite the fact I've made other attempts to get in, but that's really wasn't that the issue. It was that attempt. It was, I don't mean that attempt, but it was at the point where no matter what I tried, there was two patterns, a pattern of him not getting back to me and a pattern of the yard never being quite in shape. So just to clarify, Mr. Souza, it wasn't a single phone call or a single phone call I don't think you made back to me. It was just over the months. I understand that. And what I'm saying is that I understand that you can't always get back to someone as soon as you'd like to. It's just that it's been months. And I just wanted to clarify that.
Okay.
Mr. Souza.
Yep.
Okay,
I'm
continue.
with, okay. That the trash he's talking about, the trash around the house, this and that, means replacing shutters at the house because I'm replacing that. It's an old house. I'm putting everything new as I can. So the shutters was being replaced. It's not trash. You don't see plastics. You don't see bags of trash around the property. You don't see abandoned cars around the property. You don't see, this is trash to me. But having things like replacing on the construction work, it's one thing. Trash for me, it's another thing. Trash for me, it's bags of food, trash bags all over the place. You know, a little further in that street on Frost Street, yes. A little further down, you're going to see a lot of that, yes. But you not in my property. No, the property has been in construction. So it's only that replace new shutters, replacing some vinyl outside of the house because people are throwing stones to the house. It was cracking the vinyl of the house. So this was the reason you're seeing some vinyl outside. You're gonna see if you go there today, you're gonna see some iron gates outside of the house, but it's not trash. It stays to fix the house. Okay. Go ahead.
All right, so if I could just reply to that. There was other demolition material leaning up against the house as of yesterday. There's something in the front yard that I can't see. So really the crux of this is that, I have tried to have a walkthrough with you. I have had conversation with you about that particular area and how it's gonna remain clean. I've conversed with you about one day, one area of the yard is overgrown and weedy. And then the next day, it's been cleaned up, but there's another area. So that area near your house where you put that other demo material, that was very recently cut down, you can tell because the roots are all brown. it's not really just that one thing, sir. That's just an example. The problem has been that every time I go, there is something else. And wood, any kind of wood on the ground is a problem. It's a violation of the minimum housing code. That is not something we would immediately bring you to court over, but I just cannot verify certain facts about your property. It almost doesn't matter what's going on the property. I just can't verify it. I have your exterminated contract. We like to verify that there are traps on the ground. That's, not really necessary, but I have not been able to get a close look at your coop. It looks like you augmented it. It looks like that temporary coop you had for your adopted additional 20 birds a few months ago, which was another wrinkle in this. All of a sudden 20 new birds showed up. They were temporary. You told me that's fine. It looks like you took pieces of that and might have sort of leaned them up against the coop. I don't know. The real problem here is that despite my several entreaties to you, you simply have not provided me with the time to go and take a thorough look at the property. So I have never been in a position here to present to the board the information that they need to grant a variance.
Okay,
And since this began in February and we're now in October, that was the reason for my decision.
I'm not sure what other action we can take. We're certainly not gonna grant the variance until Faust has a chance to do an adequate inspection. So I again move that we table this, and Mr. Souza works out the opportunity for Faust or his staff to get over there and do an adequate inspection.
very good. How about Friday?
Well, you work that out offline. We can't, we're not gonna schedule the appointment for you.
Okay,
I don't, Tom and Dr. Gagliardi, do you agree with, what else can we do
Yeah.
here?
I mean, I think he has to make himself available, and I think he has to make all efforts to make himself available so that this can get resolved. And I think it has to be resolved by the time we have our next meeting.
Can I ask a question here? May I
Yeah.
ask a question?
Sure.
So, just hypothetical, I'm not predicting this. If I do go and inspect and the yard is not in acceptable shape, if the coop is not in acceptable shape, see, this process begins with education and aiding the applicant. And at some point, look, I'm an enforcer, that's my mindset, and maybe I'm wrong, I need some guidance here. You have to sort of pivot to, well, we've tried our best and now we're going to enforce. If it's not in shape at that inspection, or I wonder under what circumstances does this come back? It comes back either way. You're going to lift it from the table the next meeting and we talk about it. How many chances do I give him? He said, if I am told, oh, well, I didn't realize, come back next week and it's still not in shape. Where do we draw the line? Or maybe we can't answer that question right here and now in this particular case. I'm kind of asking because I have other similar cases. Where do we draw the line and say, you've had your chance? What I was seeking, motion on the table, but a motion before the board, but what I was seeking was a denial, upholding the cease and desist. The reason we have a corporation counsel here today is monitoring the meeting is that we would take civil action separate from the board, but we need that written decision to do that. Now, this may all be moot because you're going in a different direction, but I don't know the process here. It's kind of new territory. If he doesn't pass muster, if I just don't think the board is going to accept this application, do we just prearrange to come back and say yes or no then, or what happens?
I think it has to be resolved to your satisfaction by the next meeting.
By the next meeting.
I mean, what do you guys think?
Well, I mean, I'm certainly not in a position to vote to approve anything right now. And my understanding is that with the cease and desist in place, there shouldn't be any chickens on that property. And if there are, you should fine them and take them to court.
Well, that's the plan, but I was seeking a written denial of the appeal just as a matter of law to bring to court. To say, well, the board has ruled on this and that's why we're taking this action.
Well, I suppose we can do that, but if, you know, unless we grant an appeal, there's no appeal. The cease and desist is in order, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know, I'm fine with doing that if you want that to support you as you go further in the process.
We try to be prepared.
Mr. Fiore,
Yes.
you in the past, you've been in my house. You saw the chicken coop. You
Yes,
saw the chicken coop in the past.
but
It's
from a
really-
distance now, it looks different to me and I have not been able to verify
It
that.
look, it looks the same, Mrs.
Well, That's,
I did what you asked.
that's
me.
why we have inspections, sir.
I did what you asked me, putting down. I had a company each month to go there, the Flint company.
Excuse me, gentlemen,
the-
I don't think this board meeting is the place for you to negotiate with the inspectors, Mr. Souza.
Okay, I'm not trying to negotiate. This chicken is not in business. This is for me, for my house. This is not for business, this and that.
I move that we deny the appeal.
Okay,
Second,
Tess, where are you? There you are.
We're gonna do a roll call. Second, sorry, Thomas Corey, I'm just trying to find my charger because my laptop's about to die. Thomas Corey,
Yes,
Michael Coughlin,
Yes.
Stephen Gagliardi.
yes.
all right, Faust, up to you.
Okay,
You give it, let's give, and I would just throw out, you said if you get together by Friday, and if
Yeah.
it's not by Friday, then go for it.
well, all right, so the next step would be to issue, I've issued one fine less in the past. The next step would be to issue a fine. So I think that means that I would not do that at least until after that meeting on Friday. Depending on, pending what happens there. All right, Mr. Souza, I'm gonna give you a call, not to waste the board's time, to nail down a time for us to do that, okay? I'll do that
Okay.
right after.
to everyone, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it.
All right, good luck.
Thank you.
Steve Gagliardi.
Okay, next we have a tobacco violations hearing, second offense, an act to modernize tobacco control at Friends Food Mart, 407
Yeah.
South.
I was-
This will open up the hearing. Jennifer,
So
you're
yes.
presenting?
Yes. So I did complete a round of inspections on September 3rd. And then I went into Friends Food Mart at approximately 2:57 p.m. I found flavored vapes and flavored cigars. Some were behind the counter and some were located in the back storage closet. This is their second violation within 36 months. I issued a fine of $2,000 with a possible 7-day suspension. As of this time, the fine is paid and their first violation took place on November 5th for a sale to a minor.
November 5th, what year?
2023.
Sir, are you here for the tobacco? Hello, sir. It says health.
Mute.
Hello? Sir, we can't see you. Are you muted?
Do you think I should disconnect it? I'm Antonio Souza. I think you guys done with
Mr.
me,
Souza,
right?
you can disconnect.
Yes, you can disconnect, sir.
Thank you very much.
Jennifer, can you see this gentleman? Is he from the,
It looks like, I think he just joined the call, on the last part of the Board of Health call, but I don't see him on here anymore. I just saw it when I saw his video pop up when he called in. And now I don't see him on the call.
I have a gentleman on my screen. Looks like he's broadcasting from a car. Do we all see him?
Yep,
I see it.
Sir, can you
What's that?
identify yourself?
It just says health. So I don't know what that means.
Sir?
Looks
I
like
think he's on mute.
having some audio issues.
Okay,
Okay, now on mute.
hear us?
Yes, can you guys hear me?
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Now we can you state your name and address for the record?
So my name is Mizanur Rahman, and the address is 407 South Main Street.
Okay, so,
Mizanur Rahman is my brother, so he's busy right now. He's not in here. He's like kind of sick, so he's kind of sick to his doctor, so he's not
okay,
in
so
Fall
you're
River in Mass.
representing him?
I'm sorry, sir.
Are you representing him?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's hear the side of the story.
So the thing is, the guy we don't the next door that I believe she got those stuff on the next door. It wasn't ours before. So we just newly rented the next place that we got, and the last owner, I believe, they had those in there. And unfortunately, we when we renewed everything, the next time she came in and it was there, we didn't put it in garbage and it's do those stuff. It came. I don't know how it came out, but it wasn't ours.
Hold on. Do you have all the proper signage up in your establishment?
I'm sorry, sir.
Do you have all the proper signage up in your establishment? All those signs that say, don't smoke, no flavored tobacco, the whole list. You have them up?
Yeah, I had before it's the other side. Yeah.
Have you ever read them? Are you employed at the store? Do you work at the store?
No, sir.
Okay. Does your brother work at the store?
No, sir.
Who works at the store?
We have employee work at the store.
Okay, your brother's the owner?
Yes, sir.
I have to assume he doesn't read the signage he has posted in his store? All these tobacco signs, no one reads them? As the owner? How often do you visit the store? What color are the signs?
It's just no flavored tobaccos and stuff.
Okay,
No flavored tobacco.
so how come you have flavored tobaccos in the store?
I think what he was saying was that the previous owner left them behind.
Yes, sir. That's what I'm trying to say, but I can't. My English is not that good, so I can't explain it to you guys because it was next door. It wasn't our door. We just rented the next door newly.
Take over the business.
Hello.
How long ago did you take over the business?
We take over the business for like a year, and the next door that we just rented, we just opened not even last month. It's like a couple of days, like maybe 3 weeks or less than a month that we just opened the next door. It was like someone else next door. We didn't open that one. It wasn't our.
Now I'm confused. Are there two variety stores side by side?
So this is this is two door. One door it was ours, and next door was someone else, and that was empty. So we just rented the place and we just renovate everything. Then while renovating, Jennifer showed up and she found on the next door, and that's how we get the ticket.
Okay, so it sounds to me like they rented they expanded into a new storefront, and the products were in the new storefront and they never noticed it and didn't get rid of it. Is that what you're trying to tell us?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And Jennifer, can we have your sense of the store and the ownership and all of that?
So it looks like they took ownership, back in 2023. All this stuff was located inside of the store, though.
The
Inside of
existing,
their
the
existing-
the previous storefront, the original store, Jennifer, as opposed to a new storefront next door. Were you there? Did it look to you like they had just expanded into a new storefront when you were there?
No, it didn't look like that. It just expanded.
What do you mean it just expanded?
It doesn't look like it expanded. It's just that one store that's there.
Yeah, Jennifer is not confirming what this gentleman has just told us.
It's just we just opened this newly, maybe last month. We have the what is it called?
But
certificate
apparently,
or permit.
sir, apparently your violation was issued before you opened the new storefront based on what you're telling us right now. So you're still liable for this. I think we should just take action based on what we usually do on a second violation. Did they pay the fine yet, Jennifer?
Yes, the fine is paid.
So the question is, are we doing a 7-day suspension?
I'm
Yes, it
so-
would be. Oh, sorry.
The thought here. What?
The question is, are we doing a 7-day suspension?
We generally have been waiving those
Yeah.
for most of these cases. There was one exception, well, a few months ago, so I don't know what my colleagues think. I'm undecided.
Again, we can waive the 7-day with the warning. It'll be a 30-day if there's another violation.
That sounds reasonable.
Okay, we have a motion.
Motion
So
to,
moved.
second,
Thomas Corey,
Yes.
Michael Coughlin,
Yes.
Stephen Gagliardi.
yes.
All right, you're all set, sir.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a
You-
good
you-
one.
If we should meet again with the board, it'll be a 30-day suspension.
You and your brother
All right,
have
sir.
to.
I hope it doesn't, because the guy was there. He shouldn't do this. He's like,
All right, thank you.
have a great one, sir.
Long meeting today. Next, we're going to welcome Michaela Petty. She's the new epidemiologist, and she's going to give us some information. Michaela, welcome.
Hello, thank you. I have a couple slides to share. So we are kind of in a transition from summer to winter, definitely getting deeper into the winter side of things. So wanted to provide an update on kind of where we ended with tick and arbovirus season this year and what might be in store for respiratory season. So looking at kind of just the general summary of tick-borne illness that was reported through MAVEN, nothing particularly unexpected this year. We did see a few more cases of babesiosis and HGA as compared to last year. But in terms of Lyme and general seasonal trends, it was pretty on par with what we typically see, with a peak in July. And then kind of tailing off in August. We'll probably see a couple more cases pop up before winter really sets in. As far as distribution of cases, pretty standard, about half male, half female, age distribution was typically what we see. This year it was a little bit more evenly distributed across the various age groups, and we did see it skew a little bit younger. Typically we see 50 and 65 plus as the primary age demographic. But overall, relatively standard year when it comes to tick-borne illness. Arbovirus season is where things got interesting this year, especially in the last couple of months. It started off pretty slow, and then quickly within kind of September, August and September, things heated up, especially for Triple E this year. Thankfully, in our jurisdiction, we never had any animal or human cases detected, and our risk level remained low for most of the season, or for all of the season. Some surrounding towns did end up being bumped up to moderate risk level, but as far as we were concerned, we made it through the Triple E season. West Nile is relatively similar. It was a little bit more active than Triple E, so we didn't have any human or animal cases again, but we did have several mosquito positive samples throughout the season, and ended at a moderate risk level. So kind of looking at where things ended, it was definitely a busy year, which was anticipated. We'll have to see how the winter goes, given with kind of the activity towards the end of the season could potentially be another similar season next year. It has been a dry fall, and if we have a relatively hard winter, we might get lucky next year. But we'll kind of see how the winter goes. But just wanted to sum up kind of where we started and where we ended. But then thinking about the winter, it is very much respiratory virus season. So the CDC did publish their predictions for what this season's going to look like. They're expecting it to be relatively close to last year, if not lower, in terms of hospitalizations. That's including COVID, flu, and RSV. This model was published, I think, late August, early September, and they'll be updating it throughout the season as things kind of unfold. One of the big things this year was we saw a very late summer peak of COVID, high case counts, more so than we saw last summer. So there are kind of two different scenarios. Now this is starting to play out a little bit more as we turn the corner into November. It was possible that cases would continue to increase through the fall from the summer peak, and we'd see an earlier peak of cases. It's looking like we're in scenario B, where cases have dropped off after the summer. We're in a bit of a lull, but then cases will pick back up kind of in the typical respiratory season pattern, with a peak somewhere in mid to late January. So looking a little bit more locally, these are cases of flu and COVID from both last season and kind of looking into what we have so far in this season. Green is COVID cases, gray is flu. So we're really on par for what we saw around this time last year, case count wise, for both flu and COVID. So similar to kind of the CDC models, we can expect a peak similar, if not lower than last year, sometime around mid-January. And as far as age demographics go, we saw a pretty typical flu with younger and older populations being kind of the most directly impacted for both COVID and flu. Some potential things that could increase the case counts more than we would expect would be a new COVID variant or an emergent flu subtype that was not in this year's vaccine. Lower vaccine uptake is also a big factor, and then lower vaccine effectiveness than we would anticipate. As far as variants and subtypes go, we don't have as much control over that. That's more of just helpful context as we move through the season. vaccine uptake is something that as a health department and as a board of health, we can kind of try to promote. So did want to take a minute to look at our vaccine rates, and I'll kind of go through this quickly. This is available on the state dashboard as well, and they'll track this throughout the season. The main takeaway is in Fall River, our vaccination rates are lower than the state for both flu and I'll show COVID in a minute, especially among kind of that young adult population, which is a trend we see across the state, but is something to keep in mind as we're trying to promote vaccinations and increase any available opportunities. So this is also the COVID vaccination rate, which is also much lower than our flu vaccination rate. So this is helpful in providing both kind of an action item in terms of we're still early in the season. There's definitely time to be vaccinated before we really get into the thick of it. But also if this trend does continue throughout the season, it's important context to have as we make recommendations, understanding that our population is not as widely vaccinated. So touching on those recommendations, this is a busy slide and I'll send out a cleaner version of this with the minutes. But this is kind of summarizing a lot of the new updated guidelines for both strategies for protecting yourself during the season as well as isolation guidelines. The CDC kind of reworked it, and I know there's been some questions and confusion as they've updated it from kind of the pandemic recommendations for COVID specific, and now they've broadened it to all respiratory illnesses have kind of the same guidelines in terms of isolation and general protection. So that is the quick update. I will stop sharing my screen and open it up for any questions or any comments.
It's really cool to have that sort of data for the board and the department to use with Kayla. So thank you for doing that. Those recommendations weren't for us to take any particular action, right? Those are what the CDC and the state are just recommending in general to the public, correct?
Yes, yeah, that's just general recommendations, especially kind of as a primer as we do move through the season. If there's any type of change in trends, good to have in the back pocket.
All we're able to do is we're only able to use our bully pulpit to educate the community about what they should be doing.
Yes.
Trust the two of you to take the lead on that for us.
Yes, we'll continue to push messaging out to the community and to our community partners to engage their populations to encourage vaccinations. We have received a number of calls from folks in the community and who aren't able to get to a clinic. There is that new state at-home vaccination program for homebound individuals or others who have troubles getting to a clinic. So we do know that folks with some, whether it be mobility challenges or other challenges in terms of getting to a clinic are reaching out to us in that way. We have held clinics at the senior centers. And so we are, encouraging populations to get out there and to get vaccinated. And to Michaela's point, we'll continue to do that as the season progresses. Again, the goal is to get everybody vaccinated by the end of this month, or as many people as we can. So certainly have work to do in terms of getting those numbers out. But when you look at that state dashboard, you do see that we are in line with some of our other big cities in terms of the numbers of folks that are vaccinated. So it's a struggle that I think a lot of communities are facing, especially after COVID with those low rates.
Okay.
Do employers get those recommendations for when people are sick so they kind of know how to guide people on getting back to work?
Just making sure I was off mute. I think that's a good point, and something that we can certainly kind of look to. A lot of times we get we get calls, and we'll answer those calls kind of as they come in. But I think that we can look to do something maybe even with the, uh, it's not called the Chamber of Commerce anymore. I'm forgetting what it's called, now, but we can connect with them to maybe try and really get some messaging out, because we haven't done that really since COVID, but we do receive calls not only from internal departments, but from others about what the recommendations are. So that's a good point, Dr. Gagliardi, and I think we can look to do something like that.
I think in general, you know, people get colds, they get COVID, whatever. I think the same guidelines would follow, you know, you have a fever, don't go to work. If you're feeling better, go back to work kind of thing. So, and wearing a mask for 5 days seems pretty reasonable. But I think a lot of employers might not know because of all the, you know, the regulations that were there beforehand that we all had to deal with.
Yeah, there has been, some changes, but, and, I think we do still struggle with folks not staying home when they're sick. So just continuing to encourage that. We need to do, to kind of go back to those kind of, behaviors that if you're sick, just, do everybody in your office a favor and, or workplace, whatever it may be, and stay home.
Well, we went from a time when there was unlimited free sick time to now you're going to use your PTO. So
Yeah.
people would rather use it for a beach day in the summer than for a cold.
Okay, any other questions for Michaela?
Thanks.
All right.
Thanks, Michaela.
Thanks.
Yes, anything for the director's report?
We're just continuing on. We have several positions posted for our shared services grant. So we are looking to hire folks. Those positions have been posted not only on the city's page, but elsewhere, like Indeed and other like Massachusetts-based sites. So we are receiving a number of applications. So we'll be setting up interviews for that. But we're, looking forward to having some new team members in the department. Again, really trying to expand, the capacity within the department and have more of an impact in the community, since we're really, growing the team. So that's, again, continuing on. We do have some updates regarding the opioid settlement funds. So decisions have been made and council has approved a number of those applicants. So that period of the RFP being open is closed. So we will be working with community partners and getting contracts signed. So once those are all signed and in place, I can give you, kind of a presentation of what is going to go into effect, and we'll be getting quarterly updates from those organizations that are funded to get a sense of how the program is going. So we'll be able to provide you with status updates as to the impact that is having on the community, kind of in the in the short term. So we're looking forward to getting that money out into the community and seeing what happens. Some are expansions of programs, or and some are entirely new programs. So again, looking forward to that. And seeing how those dollars can get out into the community and what is really moving the needle. So those are, I think, my two updates. Again, we're looking for some new team members. So trying to get the word out and really get some great applicants to join the team.
Okay, gentlemen, questions?
Tess, is fluoridation a dead issue?
So at this point in time, there has not been an opportunity for the water department's systems to be updated so that fluoride product could be added to that. So what had been the initial goal of doing a capital improvement plan to the water department there's been no movement there in terms of funding being allocated to do that work. So at this point in time, the water continues to not be fluoridated.
Okay. Was there anything for citizens' input?
We
Yeah.
did not receive citizens input. Sorry, Dr. Gagliardi.
I was on mute there for a second. I know there was some vitamins that have fluoride in them. I don't know if we can, make a recommendation that if families want that, because I know my father used to give us that when we were kids, before the fluoride was around. But I mean, I don't know if people know that the water is not fluoridated.
I don't think they do.
We're
And
making a lot of fluoride prescriptions for children.
Yeah, the offices are aware, because we've notified them that the water
Dentist office, sorry, yeah.
fluoridated, dental offices and pediatric offices in particular, but I think to that point, it's not just a youth, childhood issue that folks even, is a lifelong, there's a lifelong benefit to fluoridation. But they have been notified in terms of dental offices and pediatric offices, so that they can supplement those who would benefit. So at youth or any others, with whether it be fluoride, application or supplements. So it is, certainly, I certainly, there's clear benefits to having fluoridated water. I think the community would certainly benefit from having the water continue to be fluoridated. So it is, going to have a community impact, maybe not in the short term, but we're going on a few years now without water being fluoridated. So, we will begin to see an impact in the community that they're, have not had water fluoridated for some time. The data's quite clear on that.
I'm sure we will. I raised my kids in Fall River and they grew up with almost no cavities. But now I think my granddaughter is gonna get them. So that's one way I'll be anecdotally paying attention to this. It's a shame. Should we, I understand the position you're in, Tess. Should we communicate directly with the mayor regarding this? Because at one point, Paul was suggesting that ARPA funds might be available for this, and that obviously hasn't happened. And probably, and my impression is that that's not in the current plan.
That's correct. And I think that there had been requests also, the water department was keen on seeking a capital improvement project, money, to get that improvement, that it wouldn't just, benefit them for it wouldn't just be for the fluoride, it would be, overall a benefit to their department. So, the administration is, aware of my position, in terms of advocating for, the water to continue to be fluoridated. But I can certainly, whether or not the board would be interested in writing a letter, or I can share, again, any concerns or thoughts that the board may have, with the administration.
Well, if you think that the administration isn't aware that the board feels this way, you should certainly let them know that it does. I mean, at least speaking for myself, and it's at least. Dr. Gagliardi, sounds like you're supportive of fluoridation. I don't know.
Definitely.
So,
I still don't have any cavities.
good for you. I grew up in a town before they started fluoridating the water, and my mouth is full of them. But my kids have virtually none, and believe me, they didn't brush their teeth any more effectively than I did when I was a kid. So that's the story I always tell when I talk about fluoridation.
Okay, we have to confirm the date for the next meeting. If we follow our usual pattern, it would be November 26th, which is the Tuesday of Thanksgiving week.
Yeah,
Um,
doesn't matter to me, but we can change it if it's
Well,
inconvenient.
do you want to move it into December? Because the December meeting would fall on Christmas Eve, and maybe
Well, that's a good idea. Yeah, let's have one meeting in early December to cover both months.
either the 3rd or the 10th. And anyone have a particular?
The 10th seems like right in the middle.
Yes, okay.
All right, fine.
All right.
All right. Tess, is there any other items of business that could not make the agenda?
No, no new business.
All right. Can we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Sorry, my son just got home. Thomas Corey?
Yes.
Michael Coughlin?
Oh, yes.
Stephen Gagliardi?
Yes.
Thank you all and have a lovely Halloween. Do something scary.